Evening. Been pounding the water at night, so I'm intoxicated. On rebirth, huh? Here's another episode of Smoking with Josh. Um, I want to talk about something that just came up today. And in ties to my story, I'm sure to a lot of people's stories. But to me, not probably in the way that you think. But shortly after I woke, and I've been thinking about it today in a new way. Um, well, as when I first joined Rosicrucian, I've deleted the post since. But one of the things that I posted that right afterwards, I had the spirit or whatever tell me, oh, you should leave that. Fuck, how am I supposed to know what the fuck I'm supposed to do if it's always the other way? Whatever I'm intuitively guided to do, and then someone says, "Why'd you do that?" Oh, where the fuck were you at? God damn it! Oh, but if I'm being led along, oh well, then I don't know where I'm going either. So, but the thing I posted was, so love is abandonment as a question, and like a koan, Japanese koan. You can look that up if you want to. It's just like a Confucius phrase. And a lot of people, I don't know, if they follow me at all, might think that I have abandonment issues. And actually, that's a entirely, I don't know, maybe in some sense, but not really. Because in a sense, all I know is abandonment. That nobody's going to be there for me. And if they are, it's only going to be for their own benefit. And everyone's going to, as soon as things get comfortable, they're going to leave anyway. At the same time as, I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of guy. But not. Because, well, I go with the flow. And so if things are going good, then it's going good. But, there's no promise of tomorrow, or, tomorrow maybe feelings will change. So then, if it feels right in the moment, then usually, yeah. I mean, but not in a greedy sense, like, oh, I might not get another chance. I always base things by the moment. Well, so that's weird. How I feel that regular people, 313, regular people meaning most of the population, is teeters between abandonment issues and control issues. And they stem from the same spot. The fear of being left without. So they'll take advantage of somebody else, or if they feel if somebody else is taking advantage of them, then they'll find a way to get them back. The revenge. Yeah, I'm not really about that. But you do me wrong, it's usually pretty much, well, bye. A year later, I run into you and you're like, hey, can we hang out? Maybe. Once. Maybe. Never. Probably not. I don't really have abandonment issues. In fact, I've spent so much time alone. Even though I'm a really social person. But social settings, it's always about each clique and each pair and who's after who. And it's just a fucking mess for me. And I can't just walk up to the person I want to leave there with. Because usually it's always a situation where there was somebody else, or, that's not the right time or place for that. And nobody will approach me. That's pretty standard, unless it's someone who's innocent, in a sense. They're just drawn to me. And then, I don't know. It always ends up being like things go great for a little while, but then I'm like, I gotta get out of here because I don't want to hurt you at the same time as you probably got some cycles coming up where I can just see that you're going to be too attached to me, or you're going to flip. And so then I always trust my intuition with that. Brings me to, excuse me, another aspect. Love is abandonment. Yeah, kind of. Because, well, in the moment, if things are going right, then let's go right. And kind of the same with, like, say, a particular substance. Well, then it's all love. It's all abandonment. Only in some ways, there's at least a commitment of some sort where you can't just, it's not like you do a line or something and you're good in an hour or two. I mean, I've never really done much of that stuff, but a little enough to know. I mean, the other kind, well, just a little bit goes a long ways, and it's going to be at least 24 hours or more. And so then you're locked in, regardless of what happens, like a marriage of sorts, where you lost your head, but you're all head, all mind, and you lost your body, but shit, you're all about body. Uh, you want to make something, but you don't know what you're making. Or you want to fix something, and then you get way too deep into digging into boxes to figure out where the tool you needed to, or the string or the tape or whatever the glue was, so you could fix that one thing. So you spend 2 hours, to fix something that you probably should have fixed 6 months ago, but you didn't have the energy to go through all the stuff. And so love is kind of abandonment in that aspect. Um, so it's interesting how Um, that is kind of a thing. That love is abandonment. So if somebody has abandonment issues, then they're not going to find love. I mean, how can you get a hold of it unless you throw yourself in it and tomorrow it might be over? There's no way. You can't balance that shit. If you want it, all you can do is reach out and ask or take it if it's offered. And so the one thing I pull up something here, and surprisingly, the way I was growing up, it seems more likely that the last thing I would want to do is social media. And that's kind of what I've been pushed into. And having multiple people I'm interested in, that's not really me either. And listening to a whole bunch of perspectives, yeah, but no. And so in some ways, I've entirely developed since the last 6 years of my life. And I was more like everyone else, even though I still didn't necessarily fit in. And so, what's a comfort zone, right? I don't really know such a thing at all. Oh, oh. I took some melatonin. I haven't taken it in a while. It must be kicking in. I must sleep good tonight. It says in spirituality, phrases like Saint Therese, like Teresa, but Therese of Lisieux, maybe is how you pronounce the French. I don't know. Lisieux. I don't know. Abandonment is the sweet fruit of love, referring to the surrendering the ego to divine love, the profound spiritual detachment from worldly desires to find ultimate connection, not the rejection of a person. Well, that's interesting. If taking such a substance is exactly that thing, because you surrender to and of and for aside the ego. All of a sudden, yeah, what ego? But it's attributed to the ego. And profound spiritual detachment. Very much so. is that state of mind. And from worldly desires, although there's certain desires that come in that it wants to focus on, but it always ends up being what's missing in the first place, like maybe a partner. But a drug is easier to maintain because it comes and it goes, and everything, whatever destroyed can be rebuilt, and new knowledge is gained every time. In a relationship, you could go on several dates, and sure, you learn some random facts or whatever about them, but usually you're not changed as a human being. And so, and then you're tied into spending all this time and all this money to maybe get nowhere, where for nothing or a few bucks, all of a sudden, you can change your entire life without changing anything. Change your mindset. Spend 3 days a week, and then you're different because you've left your old self far enough behind, even though it's the same self, and you have to take it all with you as a rebirth. But it's not a rebirth, but it's like an intermission in a movie at the same time as a new movie's playing. And so, what happened to the old movie? Well, I guess the ending, they didn't want to show the ending. We're going to watch this new movie start in the middle of some other story. And so I find that people are afraid to surrender and detach at the same time as they're afraid to hold on. And I'm kind of both and neither. Where if it's a routine, yeah, stick with it. Because it doesn't feel like there's any way for me to progress forward. If there was, well, it would require money. But I have all this spiritual wealth. Well, what can I do with it? I don't know. For the most part. Well, everywhere I go and everything I see pegs me in a certain way. Not like in the butt or anything, but kind of in the six of the mind. Automatically just has something in mind and takes or leaves something and then goes back to its village. And I always have to stand alone. If I were to create or do something, everywhere I try to sell that, I'd be blocked. It would have to do with something else, and then they'd have all the information at the same time as give me nothing, and could have pictures of it and all this stuff, and basically just steal it from me anyway, and then leave me stranded, which has brought me to the point of, okay, so what the fuck could I do? If I can't control anything, I can't abandon anything, and I've already abandoned it all, and I live in love, but nothing will cross the river, even if I get rid of it all or hide it. Okay, that make me any more scary or any different? No. Or any less scary? No, not at all. Still all that and then some, and none of it. And so it's interesting how it proves something at the same time as it's always been beside the fucking point. But this at the same time, some kind of crux that people generally somehow perceive and hold against themselves or hold against me due to the division of the ego and therefore those things without such an ego, children and animals, automatically just get along because they're not afraid or trying to control. And fear is tied to abandonment. And if I ever knew what to do, then I'd do it. But like I said with the whole comment, okay, I type it in. I'm like, I don't want to leave that behind. But that voice wasn't there to tell me maybe you shouldn't do that. Or why. The voice always just talks shit. Tells me I did wrong. Or tries to talk back to me. Or plays a song repeatedly for the last 3 hours in my head while I just ignore it. Tied to a playlist I made earlier today. Nick Jonas, Chains. Yeah, but it only brings me down. Okay, but who's me? That has to do with the fucking ego. I ain't dealing with it. But was it to be a singer and a star? Oh, but it's to be all about the ego. And but we're all supposed to get to the earth, huh? Oh, so we want to get down. But he's talking about being tied to a drug or a relationship. And I contributed. Well, it seems like the spirit of negativity that's been playing that ties it to, okay, well, so then each person that I care about, for instance, let's just use tarot as a perfect example, then, yeah, they want me to subscribe to them, and that makes them feel something. But they'll never cross the gap and or probably ever subscribe to me. Just the concept of being attached. And for me not to, well, especially if I've been there before, well, nobody ever comes forward. So I guess the question behind the song posed to me is, why have anything to do with it at all? Or any of them, anyone related to tarot. But honestly, or music. But honestly, it would make me feel, well, that about everyone. Who cares about anyone? Fuck all of y'all. Nobody matters. That's what everyone taught me. Just let them live and let them suffer in isolation as long as possible. Because that's what we would want to do to our enemies, right? Make them suffer forever. Rather than kill them quick. Let's just keep them around and make them suffer. Which is what seems to be what the powers that think that they have power over me do. And then come in and poke at me and make fun of me. Or take the stuff out of my laundry or my closet, my trash bin, and then put it all in a song just to be like, fuck you right to your face. Okay, so big fucking deal. Okay, yeah, you can do that. Good job. But if I'm going to compete with that, well, then it shows that I don't really give a fuck. And sometimes, and a lot of times, I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good one. I like that. Okay, bye. Oh, yeah, but I made a bunch of money off of selling it to everybody else. Good for you. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. Oh, wait, is that derogatory for me to say that? Big fucking deal. Where's your dirty laundry? I can go through it and then but that's what you'd want me to do. I don't stalk or even look up details about anybody. The most I'll go is to their about page and glance. Okay. Because I already know if I email anybody, they're not going to respond to me. Not since I was a child. Not famous or otherwise. So why would I give a fuck now? What could I do about it? Everyone wanted me wrapped in chains. Chains. Oh, so who's stealing whose soul? I don't fucking know. It's the world soul. And I'm just the pivot point, if that's what the world and the divine, and if everybody's God, then that's what must be what God wants, huh? And what's surrender? I am surrendered. I'm not fighting it. I'm not trying to prove something. I ain't gonna talk, make a song talking about myself and against my own bag. Big fucking deal. I mean, no disrespect, but that's where I'm coming from. Okay, good. You made an album. You make it just looking through my stuff. Or that's the stuff that everybody already had anyway. Okay, well, good. What's to make me change? Especially if I was driven to put all this stuff up here like this. And then everything tells me, oh, well, you need to clean up. You need to clean up what? That's on the side. Turn off the screen. If you're in the room with me here, it ain't shit. So what's the distance between here and there? And if abandonment has to do with love, then somebody's going to have to abandon something in order to make that move. But the fear of, oh, well, what if he says something about it? Where anybody knows. Or, oh my God, but everybody wants to be famous, huh? Especially for stupid shit. So that's pretty weird. Or for being so bold that, yeah, I faced down the devil and walked away with my life. Look at me, he couldn't kill me. As a metaphor to something. Okay? I never see that kind of boldness unless it's somebody fucking sneaking up on me when I'm drunk or whatever and gotta start a fight with me and have 5 people around or have me cornered in their fucking yard or something at 3 a.m. Yeah, then everybody wants to be a tough guy. Who needs to be a tough guy ever? It's really uncalled for. I mean that's pussy whipped. If every pussy that walks by you gotta corner them and beat the ass. You feel like you're protecting your property from a drunk guy that's stumbling through. Yeah, that the pussy beat your ass even if you got his phone. What good is it to you? You couldn't unlock it. And you still got another one the next day. It's a big fucking deal, Like I don't get tough guy syndrome. It's really unbecoming of people because the submissive one always wins, even if you kill him, especially if you kill him. Yeah, you get to live another day, but you're marked with that for life. At the same time as you closed out somebody's family line so that there won't be any kids or grandkids or you know that's pretty sick. There ain't nothing to be proud of that. That's disgusting. So no matter what you could do after that, you better be fucking feeding homeless people and sucking dick on corners, because I don't know how anyone could really beat murder. And that's that control, that fear, and that needing a revenge, which is a fear of abandonment and a fear of losing. And so that's totally living in lack. And but we won't have a problem, going back after you get done and go and get all fucked up. But that's abandonment to have love. But then abandoning oneself to hurt someone, that's just sick. So everyone has the right to live. So, yeah, abandonment. Letting go of the ego. Well, if it's all there, it can be used against you. Well, that's how much more can you let it go? It's already been thrown in my face, and I threw it in my own face. And if that's everyone's ego, but everyone was running away from their ego in order to attach onto an ego, to be the ego on stage, aside from ego, as ego. Like, what? That's why they're holding it out of focus with a contract, with a little focus, with a big one. Oh yeah, I'm all ego. I'm chained up. Okay, well, me too. On the outside, inside out, whatever, as it is. Ain't that strange, right? See you later.